Hello, everybody, and welcome to Secular Ultra Quran, your one-stop shop for everything secular, ultra, and Quran. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today, we are covering Surah 4, verses 1 through 34. And that's right, we are finally in Surah 4, and this one is called Al-Nisa, the women.
I almost clicked stop stream.
Oh
I
my
had to
God.
Stop myself. I was going to click transition for the get rid of the welcome, and I was on stop stream, and I'm like, Chris, that's
Gotcha.
not the button. Oh gosh.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you didn't do that. I'm glad we didn't have another
I don't even. Yeah, no.
fiasco with
I still
the
think it would
auto
be
clicker.
funny. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Atheist Sunday School. And
The
it's-
end.
Or whatever. It's not that anymore.
See you later.
I'm
It
stuck.
hasn't been Atheist Sunday School for a long time.
A year? Has it been?
Yeah, I think it's about a year. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds about right.
That's
Oof.
good. I needed some distance between me and.
And the
That
Bible.
show's over.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, we only 15 episodes in. Oh, we've missed like 4 weeks.
No, it's because we were doing just the Friday show, or I guess it was the Wednesday show.
Yeah.
For a while. Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I guess this is also a Wednesday show, but this is a
Correct, but-
different one.
No, we only started this. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe about 3 months ago. All right.
So
We started it at least 14 weeks ago,
yeah, true.
which I have the Study Quran, the Quran from the Quran Project, and the Penguin Classics Quran.
We also have a thematic commentary on the Quran from Sheikh Muhammad Al-Ghazali. We have Qurans from Abdullah Yusuf Ali and Maulana Muhammad Ali. We also have the Quran and the Bible, text and commentary from Gabriel Said Reynolds.
Now, I got a couple of introductions here.
Right. Yeah, that's probably a good idea to get into. I'm going to look through
Yes.
some of these.
The shorter introduction from the Study Quran, woman, Al-Nisa. Al-Nisa was revealed in Medina around the 4th year of the Hijra and after the crucible battle of Uhud, which took place outside Medina between the Muslims and the still idolatrous Quraysh of Mecca. It takes its name from the fact that much of the surah deals with women and their rights, along with various conditions of marriage, marital relations, and laws of inheritance. Most of the first part, verses 1 through 36, is legislative in nature, as is the section dealing with war and peace and how Muslims should act in these situations. Altogether, this surah is among the most important and fundamental for Islamic jurisprudence. The surah also deals with the status of the hypocrites and those Jews who turned against the Islamic community in Medina after the Battle of Uhud, in which the Muslims suffered defeat at the hands of the Quraysh. Moreover, there are many verses in this surah dealing with those Jews who denied both Christianity and Islam, and the Christians who divinized Jesus. The most sensitive verses from this point of view of relations between Christianity and Islam concern Islamic views of the end of the earthly life of Jesus and the question of his crucifixion. After a long discussion on such general religious issues, the surah ends with a verse again related to legislative matters. It seems the Quran wants to emphasize at the termination of the surah the inseparable relation between Islamic religious beliefs and the social behavior of Muslims based on revealed law.
Yeah, it seems like these commentaries are also in agreement with that, like or at least around the timing of this, considering that, as this chapter treats many of the questions arising out of the Battle of Uhud, there seems to be little doubt that it was revealed immediately after that battle.
Yes. Let us now consider the social and historical considerations of the period in order to understand the surah. All the discourses in the surah deal with 3 main problems which confronted the Prophet at the time. First, he was engaged in bringing about an all-round development of the Islamic community that had been formed at the time of his migration to Medina. For this purpose, he was introducing new moral, cultural, social, economic, and political ways in place of the old ones of the pre-Islamic period. The second thing that occupied his attention and efforts was bitter struggle that was going on with the polytheist Arabs, the Jewish clans, and the hypocrites who were opposing tooth and nail his mission of reform. Above all, he had to propagate Islam in the face of the bitter opposition of these powers of evil, with a view to capturing more and more minds and hearts. Yeah, they're evil. They're not just...
I mean, that's what we've been hearing about a whole lot of groups, according to the Quran.
Yep. The people of the book, their moral and religious condition has been reviewed to teach lessons to the Muslims and to forewarn them to refrain from following in their footsteps. The surah also deals with the case of Banu Nadir, who were showing a hostile and menacing attitude in spite of the peace treaties that they had made with the Muslims. They were openly siding with the enemies of Islam and hatching plots against the Prophet and the Muslim community, even at Medina itself. They were taken to task for their inimical behavior and given a final warning to change their attitude, and were at last exiled from Medina on account of their misconduct.
It's funny. One of these commentaries is noting how, through... This is actually in the thematic commentary. He said that this is something that I hear from a lot of people, is that the laws given here are so bare bones, because God doesn't want your worship or your religion to be complicated. He wants to be pretty simple. It's sorry, if you guys have any rule, a whole bunch of social rules at all, that's already too complicated. You already have if there are certain ways that you're supposed to wash your hands and stuff like that. If you can't wash your hands in that way, you wash your hands in some other way. That's already too complicated, guys. That I don't know. That's just a personal gripe I have.
I tried reading some classics of Zen literature.
Oh, okay. That sounds like something you would do, yeah.
I found one book. I forget what it was called, but it was a 93-hour audiobook. And
wow.
It was going into detail about how to scrub this part of your body with soap.
Yeah.
How many times to lather it in your hands. Exactly.
Yeah, religious books love to do that. For some reason, they really love to concentrate on just on the small things, on the very ritualistic way you're supposed to do these small things. As we would just say, wash your hands, and that would encompass not a specific motion to washing your hands, but just doing it somehow. I don't care, just do it. It's very different in religious works.
I'm telling you, it was an hour and a half long chapter about how to bathe.
That's unnecessary.
Yes, absolutely unnecessary.
Unless you're describing to people who have never even considered the idea before. I guess. Huh? I suppose if it's...
I don't think that was the case. The intended audience had surely bathed at some point.
Sure, yeah, way. I guess, yeah. But that's the only time I could really even see that being a thing.
No, it was for monks. So
they would learn
everything.
Yeah, they would learn from other people, I guess, or just we all learn from other people, right? So,
Nope.
Anyways,
no, they have to.
Some
do it
of
this
us learn
specific
from
way.
just nature.
Yeah, just nature.
Yeah,
that's
they're
it.
really dumb.
You went out right into nature.
Me. Yeah. I said some of us, not me.
You said some of us, but us imply. Okay, whatever.
Humanity.
I see. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. O mankind, reverence your Lord, who created you from a single soul, and from it created a mate, and from the two has spread abroad a multitude of men and women. Reverence God, through whom you demand your right of one another and family relations. Truly, God is a watcher over you.
So there's some commentary on this. There's the translation of a specific word here. So yeah, O mankind, reverence your guardian Lord who created you from a single person. There's also the translation of single being, but it looks like, at least for my there's also the translation of single soul. So the reason for this comes from the word nafs, which one of these commentaries says it's used in two different ways, where the other one says that it may mean one of four different things. So I'm going to go with the one that says four. So yeah, it could mean soul, self, person, or living person, or then will or good pleasure. As in 4:4. So yeah, there are different ways of translating that. But it looks like so it's used in two ways, one of which is the saying, oh man, I'm gonna butcher this. Kariyat nafsuhu, where nafs is implied the soul, and according to the latter sense, that the creation of mates is spoken of in the Holy Quran, and hence the correct rendering of nafs on such occasions is kind, which implies the essence. Oh, yeah, see that they're basing that off of like a whole bunch of philosophy done, or not philosophy, theology done by all those Trinitarians.
Also, to be clear, a lot of philosophy is crap.
Yes. So I know that from talking to you.
Yes.
Yeah. Ruben's always just making stuff up.
All the time.
Yeah.
Give orphans their property, and exchange not the bad for the good, nor consume their property with your own. Truly, that would be a great sin. Okay.
I mean, yeah, this seems like, because I think in the last chapter we had stuff about caring for the orphans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, consistent with biblical works.
Yeah.
But always caring for widows and the orphans.
Oh, they don't mention widows.
No. Those. Yeah. Well, the thing is, we're gonna be talking about women, right? So, like,
eventually,
maybe they will talk about widows.
Nah.
If you fear that you will not deal fairly with the orphans, then marry such woman as to seem good to you, 2, 3, or 4. But if you fear that you will not deal justly, then only one, or those whom your right hand possesses.
Yeah. So this is.
Thus, it is more likely that you will not commit injustice.
Right. Yeah. So
the one who your right hand possesses is your slave girls.
Is that it?
Yes, that is. That is typically what this refers to.
Well, okay, so just a few things, right? So first of all, it grants you up to 4 wives. Mm-hmm. And basically every Muslim accepts that you can have up to 4 wives. But
yes, in fact, it says here, if providing for even one would prove difficulties, advised to take a slave wife, those whom your right hands possess. Because a slave wife, although entitled to kind treatment, who are owed the same financial and conjugal rights as a free wife.
Yeah, by that which your right hand possesses are meant the females who were taken prisoners in war. The Quran sanctions marriage with them in this verse. As for the conditions of that marriage, we're gonna get to conditions later. But either way, that's if you can handle like wives, right? Was that if I read that right? But if you fear that you will not do justice, then marry.
The prior categories are not barred from having relations with those whom the right hand possesses.
Yeah, hold on. It says that it does say but. So like if you fear that you cannot do justice to orphans, marry such women as seem good to you, up to 4. But if you fear that you will not do justice, if you fear that you cannot do justice or you will not do justice, are those the? Again, I feel like this part would probably be easier in.
Well, then it says only one in that case, or those whom your right hand possesses. But if those who you possess are just like a general thing, like, it's not like married men in any slave-owning culture to my knowledge, have ever been barred from owning slaves.
Yeah, notice the conditional. What was weird to me was the conditional clause about the orphans, though. Notice the conditional clause about orphans, introducing the rules about marriage. This reminds us of the immediate occasion of the promulgation of this verse. It was after Uhud, when the Muslim community was left with many orphans and widows, and some captives of war. I see. Okay, so that at least explains that condition. But it gives you up to 4. Yeah, but if you fear that you will not be able to deal justly with them, then only 1 or a captive that your right hand possesses. They'll be more suitable to prevent you from doing injustice, right? Because I guess
that's not unjust.
No, right. To prevent you from doing injustice means that you can't deal unjustly with them because they are your property. Anything you do would be just with them, right? Or at least the laws, what's it called?
There are surely some laws.
Well, I'm sure there are.
Girls.
But there are. It's far less maintenance. As in, you don't have to care as much as you would with someone who's not the slave.
Yes, theosophy. We could eventually do Blavatsky. We were going to have a Blavatsky minute.
Oh, yeah.
When we did the New Testament, because we have somewhere the New Testament commentaries by Blavatsky.
That is true, yeah. She did say a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff.
A lot of it was just nonsense, to be honest.
The vast majority of it was nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Crazy.
Let's continue. And give the women their bride wealth as a free gift, but if they are pleased to remit unto any part thereof, then consume it with wholesome enjoyment.
It's a free gift. This one says handing it over to them. That's very different.
Yes, a man has to provide a bridal gift.
As
a free gift without conditions that must be given to the women themselves. It's understood as prohibiting practices meant to deprive women of their bride wealth, such as arranging to marry off widows in exchange for their bride wealth, or keeping for oneself the bride wealth of one's daughters or orphan girls in one's care. However, it was legitimate for husbands to accept and consume any part of the bride wealth that their wives were willing to give them, as long as it was given freely and without compulsion.
Okay, so it also looks like it applied to all the women, even those taken in marriage. Sorry, even those taken in war. Yeah, so that applies to free women, orphan girls, and prisoners of war. The dowry.
Yes. And give not the feeble-minded your property, which God has placed in your hands to manage, but provide for them and clothe them from it, and speak unto them in an honorable way. So this is presumably, it says dependents unable to adequately care for themselves. So some have suggested that the feeble-minded refers to women who should not be entrusted with property lest they lose or corrupt it.
Wait, hold on.
But such an interpretation contradicts verses 2 and 4, which commands that women and orphans be given their property, and is not upheld by Islamic law, which essentially gives women control of their property.
So,
as acquired through a bride wealth, inheritance, and some other gifts and earned income.
Yeah, this is translated differently in these translations. So, and make not over your property, which Allah has made a means of support for you. Oh yeah, to the weak of understanding. Yeah, that's just a long way of saying, do not give the feeble-minded your property. Yeah. Okay.
Which we just assume, in some Islamic interpretations, means women.
Classic. I'm looking for more on this though. So that is what the feeble-minded.
Presumably anyone who needs dependent care.
Yeah, that would make sense. But of course,
could specifically refer to people with like mental problems.
It could, yeah, but at the same time, knowing religious traditions and how they could be a little more loose with their definitions.
Mm-hmm.
It might include some other stuff, so I am looking through some of these.
Mm-hmm. Let me continue on. And test the orphans until they reach the age of maturity.
Oh, see, this one says this applies to orphans, but the wording is perfectly... I'm talking about the feeble-minded.
Oh.
Yeah. This applies to orphans, but the wording is perfectly general and defines principles like those of chancery in English law and the court of wards in Indian law. Mm-hmm. Property has not only its rights, but also its responsibilities. The owner may not do just what he likes. Absolutely. His right is limited to the good of the community of which he is a member. And the contrary, his interests... this does not mean that he is dealt harshly with. On the contrary, his interests must be protected, and he must be treated with special kindness because of his incapacity. Talking about the orphan.
Okay. And test the orphans until they reach the age of maturity. Then, if you perceive them in sound judgment, deliver unto them their property, and consume it not wastefully, and in haste before they come of age. Whosoever is rich should abstain, but whosoever is poor should partake thereof in an honorable way. And when you deliver unto them their property, bring witnesses on their behalf. And God suffices as a reckoner or accountant.
Yeah, I got a reckoner.
It's accountant in the Quran Project.
Well, I mean, I would think it stems from the same idea. Yeah, reckoner.
It means that you don't actually need a person to oversee the transaction.
Sure, yeah. Someone to hold you accountable. Anyways.
Unto the men share a share of what parents and kinsfolk leave, and unto the woman a share of what parents and kinfolk leave, be it little or much, a share ordained. And when kinsfolk, orphans, and the indigent are present at the division, make provision from it for them, and speak unto them in an honorable way. Let those who would dread, if they left behind their own helpless progeny, have fear. Let them reverence God and speak justly. Truly, those who consume the property of orphans unjustly only consume fire in their bellies, and they will burn in a blazing flame.
Well, at least there's some care given to orphans.
Yeah, so in pre-Islamic Arabia, only adult men were entitled to inherit. These verses are revealed with regard to the situation of a widow with 3 daughters left destitute by her husband's male heirs. The verse establishes both men and women are legally entitled to fixed and mandatory shares of the wealth of their deceased relatives. Specific rules for apportioning the estate to the male and female heirs follow. Commentators debate whether these verses are still legally binding or if they've been abrogated or how it should be reconciled with the establishment of specific shares of inheritance for various relatives and various other verses. So there's apparently a whole bunch of issues. It's not clear how they should reckon them. Anyways. God enjoins upon you concerning your children. Unto the male, a share equal to that of 2 females.
Oh, well, we've seen that before. Mm-hmm. Actually, hold on. What was the exact law in the Bible for it? It was 2/3, wasn't it?
I think if there are only daughters, 2 or more, then unto them is 2/3 of what he leaves. That's interesting.
Wait, hold on. If there be, for the male is the equal of the portion of 2 females, but if there be more than 2 females, 2/3 of what the decreased, of what the deceased leaves is theirs.
And
So
if only one, then unto her half. And unto his parents, each of the two, a sixth of what he leaves if he has a child. But if he has no child and his parents are his only heirs, then unto his mother a third. And if he has brothers, then unto his mother a sixth. And after paying any bequest, he may have bequeathed or any debt. Your parents or your children, you know not which of them are nearer to you in benefit. This is an obligation ordained by God. Truly, God is knowing, wise.
so when the daughters are the sole heirs, they are entitled to a share of 2/3. The share of 2/3 to which, quote, more than 2 daughters are entitled remains the same, even when the daughters are 2 only. A single daughter being entitled to 1/2 is made clear further on. Okay. So I guess the other half then goes to the parents then, or the rest of the family.
People living in these times saw modern day feminist. How would they react? Well, if they were female, then they might.
I don't know how they'd react.
If they were a male feminist, then they might have more sway.
Sure, that's true.
But I doubt their ideas would catch on at all.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, yeah, that's true. Would not. I highly doubt it that those would be. What's the word? Entirely compatible.
See, I'm not sure if
Because
that
now people
classifies them as unbelievers and thus
sure.
like subject to whatever kind of way you want to kill them, I guess.
Well, the thing is that depends, right? Because there are different schools of thought.
Yeah, there are different schools of thought.
Yeah, like some would go like, well, like they might personally not like, let's say, lying, but if you're like not a Muslim or not like a Christian or a Jew or something, you know, at least the Muslims I've spoken to are like, no, this person's allowed to lie. They don't believe in a religion that tells them they can't lie. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because in other verses, it's outright like unbelievers. They're awful. You shouldn't be friends with them.
Well, I think even from that verse, it was like if you had a choice between having a believer friend and a non-believer friend, and had only that choice, you should pick the believer friend. But it wasn't like to not have them at all. It's like if they were taking the spot.
If I recall correctly, it says outright you shouldn't take them as friends.
I was pretty sure it was like if they were like taking the place of like a believer.
I'm not sure if it was conditional.
I think it was conditional.
Maybe conditional. I don't know.
Or maybe from the commentaries, at least it was conditional.
Well, the commentaries are common.
Well, yeah, some commentaries are directly in contradiction with each other.
Yeah, they are.
Like there's the one about the battle, right?
Mm-hmm. And unto you a half of what your wives leave if they have no child. But if they have a child, then unto you a fourth of what they leave after paying any bequest they may have bequeathed or any debt. And unto them a fourth of what you leave if you have no child. But if you have a child, then unto them an eighth of what you leave after paying any bequest you may have bequeathed or any debt. If a man or woman leaves no direct heir, but has a brother or a sister, then unto each of the two a sixth. But if they have more than two, they share equally a third. After paying any bequest he may have bequeathed or any debt without harm to anyone, a duty ordained by God, and God is knowing, clement.
Yeah, so a lot of different inheritance rules here.
Yeah.
I guess if you're taking this in the context of the battle, it would make sense, right? Because like you had a whole bunch of people die, and they got to figure out who gets whose inheritance.
So they have to be very specific.
Yeah.
Those are the limits set by God. Whosoever obeys God and his messenger, he will cause him to enter gardens with rivers running below, abiding therein. And that is the great triumph. But Whosoever disobeys God and his messenger and transgresses his limits, he will cause him to enter a fire abiding therein, and he shall have a humiliating punishment.
Yeah, that's very classic. Now you could apply this to like just the people who maybe take more of the inheritance that they should, right? So you could have a contextual understanding of this, or you could very easily just take it as like another time that they're saying how great God is and how bad unbelievers are.
Yes, the maximum amount that could be left to your daughters as a whole is 2/3.
Yes.
But no more.
I'm guessing the other stuff has to be split between whatever family members. But what if there are no other family members?
Well, there's no one.
What?
If there are no other family members than just the daughters?
Yeah, but what if you don't have any family members?
Okay, I guess, yeah, if you don't have any, then, yeah, I guess, I don't know.
And
Nothing
who
happens.
gets the money?
Nobody.
Does the state just take it? Does it sit there until
Maybe
someone
maybe I
takes
guess
it?
maybe at that point, this is my guess. I want to give you my guess for what Muslim law is on this. I'm sure there's been a ruling on this. I actually had I'll get into a short story here in a second, but I would think that the ruling on this would be like, well, you can dole it out any way you want then, at least as long as it's not those specific people that are listed. Because if they are the specific people that are listed, you have to do it that way. But if it's outside of those, outside of that group, you can do it to whoever you want, as much as you want.
Okay.
But also, I did have an interesting talk with some Muslims about fasting in, like, what if you're in Antarctica? Like, when do you, like, there is no, like, if you're there during like the 24-hour sun or the 24-hour nighttime, like when are you supposed to fast? So the answer, they have actually ruled on it. Yeah, you go with the time in Mecca,
Of course.
or the closest Muslim city,
Okay.
whichever one.
But what if the closest Muslim city is on the South Pole?
If you make that's true. If you make like a city of if you just establish a city of Muslims there, well, I guess then you'd go with the Mecca one.
Well,
You just revert back to Mecca.
I guess.
Go back, yeah. So
Which direction do you face?
no, it's for fasting.
Yeah, but when you pray.
It would, I guess, whichever one will get you to Mecca.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me continue on. As for those of your women who commit and indecently call 4 witnesses among you to bear witness against them, and if they bear witness, then confine them to their houses until death takes them, or until God appoints for them another way. And if 2 of those among you are guilty thereof, punish them both. But if they repent and make amends, then let them be. Truly, God is relenting, merciful. God only accepts the repentance of those who do evil in ignorance, and then turn quickly in repentance. These are the ones unto whom God relents, and God is knowing, wise. Okay,
So
these are the only people that he relents unto.
well, the thing is, okay, so these are for those of your women who are guilty of an indecency. Yeah.
No, that was in a previous verse.
Okay, sure, yeah. And as for the, well, hold on. It kind of calls back to it, right?
Doing
Because-
evil includes a general state of disbelief, particular acts of disobedience. Those who do evil in ignorance suggest those who sin unintentionally, but most commentators broaden it, either claiming that it refers to anyone who sins, even purposefully, while being ignorant of the full repercussions or divine punishment it entails, or asserting that anyone who commits an act of disobedience to God is effectively in a state of ignorance.
Yeah, it does say here that it's used for a few things. It could mean anything gross, lewd, or obscene, immodest. Though the word is used sometimes as meaning fornication, the context shows that here it is used to signify immoral conduct short of fortification. And then we get fortification, oh my God, fornication. Cannot talk.
Wow.
That was awful.
Zowie Lawrence. Yeah. Incredible.
Fortification, no.
You should get
fornication.
reading glasses.
Man, I don't know what I need. I need help is what I need. Although
glasses help.
They do. You've been saying that. This is the second day, I think, in a row you've told me I need glasses.
He texted you yesterday. I was like, "Oh, Lawrence got back to you. What are you going to talk to me about?"
I don't know why you told me I needed glasses. I could read what it said on that dude.
Look what just happened.
No, I need to learn how to
so that you could bring them today.
Okay. The second day in a row. I'm sure tomorrow he's just going to text me that I need glasses. Because I can see just fine. I just can't speak.
Wow.
What I need is a speaking coach. What? Yep. Okay. So it does, and then the first part of this was for any women who disobeyed at all, it seems. And then the second part, I guess says, against them, and if they testify, confine them to houses until death claims them. Which is kind of extreme.
Yeah, it is.
So it could be prison or it could be house arrest. Although this does remind me of, do you remember that story in the Bible where I think, yes, it was after Absalom slept with some of David's wives. David decides to keep them in a house until they die.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah, just a life sentence. It sounds like it could either be prison or just house arrest. So either way.
Don't mess around.
Yeah. With Jim.
Yep. Why don't you take over? We're at halfway through the reading at verse...
That's 17 now?
Yes. I just finished 17.
Right. You just finished 17.
Why don't you take over from there?
All right, verse 18 it is. But acceptance of repentance is not for those who go on committing misdeeds. When death approaches any of them, he says, I repent now. Nor is it for those who die while they are faithless. For such we have prepared a painful punishment. Yeah, I guess it is interesting here because when it says that, when death approaches any of them, he says, I repent now.
Okay, so you can't just be like, oh, I'm dying. I repent of all my sins. Now I go to heaven.
Yeah, and the thing is, it seems like this is a different category of people who, get a different punishment for them. But I will also say this. This is from also just speaking to Muslims about this. Apparently this isn't an issue for them. I'll have to bring this up because they do, I forget the phrase, but it's something about like, oh, I accept God into my heart, holy is he, something like that. I forget the exact translation, but like, I feel like I've actually mentioned this on the show before, but they would say that no matter like what you did before, if you just say like that phrase, you are a Muslim when you die. Like if you like on your deathbed, if you just say that phrase, that's it. You're a Muslim. And I don't know if that would be enough to grant you repentance because to them they'd say like, well, God's the ultimate judge, but they would consider you a Muslim if you said that upon your deathbed or something. So I'm not sure how they would totally reconcile with this, but my guess is that they would say, well, Allah can throw you in hell anyways. So that's my guess. So I don't know, unless you have any commentary on that.
There's really nothing on that verse.
Yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Next verse, though.
Yep. Oh, you who have faith, it is not lawful for you to inherit women forcibly. And do not press them to take away part of what you have given them, unless they commit a gross indecency. Of course, unless.
Oh.
consort with them in an honorable manner. And should you dislike them, maybe you dislike something. Wait, hold on. Maybe you dislike something while God invests it with an abundant good.
Maybe you dislike a thing in which God has placed
That's
much good.
Yeah, so that is a little funny.
In
Well, maybe you should, deal with it.
Yeah. In pre-Islamic Arabia, particularly in Medina, as in other tribal systems, a woman could be inherited by the male relatives of her deceased husband. This meant that she effectively belonged to them. They could either marry her to one of their own or someone else and keep her dowry, or prohibit her from remarrying at all unless she forfeited any money she received from her husband. In either case, they would keep the dowry and or inheritance she had received from her deceased husband within the family.
So would this apply to slave wives, or would this just apply to like the wives? I guess
it seems that every wife becomes a slave wife if she can be inherited.
Sure, which is why I'm asking.
No, yeah, it means.
I'm sure it's in one of those super clarifying laws that, they have a really long list of somewhere outside of
probably
this.
do, yeah.
I guarantee. And it has specific clauses for specific circumstances as well.
I'm sure, yeah. Like
all your questions and more, and I bet it's boring.
Yeah, probably is. It's probably like the Talmudic stuff. It's probably super
What I'm
boring.
trying to think of. That was a word.
Yeah, but it's
I
called
knew
a
it was with
hadith, by the way. It's called hadith.
Hadith.
Yeah, that's their version essentially.
That was the other word I was thinking of, because I knew that word too. Trust me, I just forget words.
No, I get that. Yeah. But it does seem like, because we had those different categories before, right? Yeah. We had a separate category for like the wives you choose to marry up to 4, or the slave wives. So, which is why I was asking about this, because like you would inherit a slave wife anyways. Unless they're saying like this would also apply, like, oh, you can't inherit the slave wives. Yeah, it's not lawful for you to inherit women forcibly. So, like, I guess you wouldn't.
Well, slave wives are only the term that the commentary use. The Quran itself says those who your right hand possess.
Sure, yeah.
Doesn't mean that you've gone through a marriage ceremony with them. It means that you own them.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can do whatever you want with them. It doesn't mean that they're a wife. So when they refer to wives in the Quran, they're not necessarily including those slave women that you own that you can do whatever you want with.
Right, but this one also does assume like a dowry, right? Which you would actually, would you be giving that to? You wouldn't be giving that to a slave.
You wouldn't give that to a slave that you own.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that.
It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I'm also confused. Like, that's why I'm asking.
You can't inherit a wife, but a slave is not a wife.
Okay,
in fact,
sure.
She is categorically not a wife in the Quran, because it says outright,
yeah, my
one
guess is
wife or those who your right hand possess.
Right, yeah. So my guess is that this would only apply to like actual wives, and not to slave wives. Yeah.
But I will be right back.
Okay.
Oh, it's an ancient tradition.
Right, yeah, It's an ancient tradition.
I have forgotten such ancient traditions, as it used to correlate with a sort of figure that's godlike, but is no longer in the show.
Yeah.
I could.
It's weird. It's weird. Every single time when we're not talking about the Bible, it seems like there is no divine presence.
Wow.
Yeah. Does that tell you something, Chris?
It's the Jesus video, I thought.
Yeah, that's it.
That was my joke.
Yeah.
Too.
No, anyways, I'm going to continue
Stop
on.
playing along while I'm playing along.
Anyways, I don't want to hear any more of this rambling.
Agreeing. April, congratulations. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a gold bull.
Holy shit, yeah, that is gold.
You are the first. I want to acknowledge that.
Hold on. Scroll up. Was there, I don't think we have like another, there was no like other membership. No, I know. But I'm saying we didn't see like a membership pop up or anything. So it must have just automatically renewed or something.
Or she had it for 30 months. I don't remember.
Or maybe she's had it for a while and we just didn't notice.
I think it just flipped.
just flipped?
Like this stream is when it flipped.
Oh, okay. Well,
previous streams, it would be silver. Do you think it records that, or it's a current stack? So if I look back at previous chats, would the people who had whatever
I don't know.
iconography?
There we go.
Jesus, thank
it's
you.
because
Thank
I'm
you,
awesome.
April.
Thank you,
Wow.
April. That's
Very
huge.
awesome.
Huge. And
We'll
there
get
is
you
the
to that
first-
final level. Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll get there. I think it's gonna be. I think it's another year for that one.
She's got it.
No. That's not the final level.
Oh, there's another.
Yeah,
There's one more. She'll get to it. I'm saying.
Yeah. So actually, pull up the
You want me to look at
picture.
the badge queue?
Yeah, the badges. So we have. So April finally
right.
has that golden bull.
There's two in the.
There's
yeah.
two. That's right. One's a golden calf, and then there's gonna be a golden bull,
There's that one.
and
Oh, they
then
can't
there's
see
gonna
my
be like
mouse. Of
some
course they
ascended
can't
one.
See my mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be an ascended one, but I really do like them. I think they're pretty cool. So if you're not a member and want these badges,
Get them.
you should just become a member. It's very cheap.
Clearly,
It's like nothing.
We got it as low as we are allowed to take it. We would take it lower if we could.
Yeah. We have one for $1, one for $2. So there you go. Those are your options. Very cheap. Okay. And since Ruben is back, I'm going to go ahead and continue with the Quran.
Oh, why don't you do so?
Okay.
Also, I figured it out, Lawrence. You know how we used to have Jesus come on?
Yeah.
And it would be like Atheist Sunday School.
Yes.
Yada,
Also,
yada, yada.
Matthew K, thank you for the huge 8 months here to support my friends. Much love. Much love to you too, Matthew. And it seems like you have what? Is that a bronze one?
Yeah.
Is that a bronze bull?
Get you there. That's amazing.
That's still pretty good.
Amazing.
What were you saying? What did you figure out about Jesus?
Yes. We need a Muhammad impersonator.
Oh no, we're not allowed to do that.
Well, the thing is,
We're not allowed to do that in the EU.
yeah, we are allowed to do that.
Yeah, see,
it is freedom of
We
speech.
do broadcast to a lot of EU people.
But is that a good idea?
Is it a good idea?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't think so. I think
Why
it's a
don't
bad
you
idea.
ask
Probably.
your Muslim friends
The thing
if
is,
that's
the
a good
thing is,
idea?
the thing is, I actually did. Not exactly that, but I did ask them about like the whole images thing. Like they can't have images, right? And they don't like it when other people have images, but they are also maybe this is just the fact that they're like fairly Americanized Muslims. But except for one of them, he actually like bothers. But I think just the consensus between all of them is like, yeah, we don't like it, but like, this is, like, it's not against your religion to do that. It's not against your beliefs to do that. But like, I think it's also like, part of their beliefs to not harm people or to not, at least not kill them. So technically part of their belief system. So, but Christians also have that, and so do Jews, but that never stopped all of them. But it never stopped religious wars. So I don't think they would personally do anything, but I also don't think that they would be totally mad if someone did. But I think it'd be a bad idea either way.
We could bring Jesus back, but have him call himself Isa.
Oh, okay.
Isa, son of Mary.
Okay, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, that
actually
would be all right.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
I'm sure that guy needs $5.
Yeah, right. I forgot where I saw him recently. Not like in person, but like I forgot. Like I saw him like do like some podcast or something.
Really? I thought isn't he still on Fiverr?
I'm sure he is. Yeah, I'm sure he is. But like he's doing some other stuff too, and I'm not entirely sure what. I saw him somewhere else. Anyways. And I'll actually continue on here.
Yeah, what verse are you on?
Verse 20. If you desire to take a wife in place of another, and you have given one of them a quintal of gold, do not take anything away from it. Would you take it by way of calumny and flagrant sin? The fuck is calumny?
Oh, well.
Or calumny?
Would you take it in injustice
God,
and manifest sin?
Gee, I've never heard that fucking word before.
Like in calumny?
How
sounds like an obscure state that
Yeah.
we forgot about.
Yeah, it's actually where the secret first school shooting was.
Oh, wow. that was a very dark direction to take that. But okay.
And y'all told me I lost my edge.
Okay.
Fuck you.
No,
that's edgy, man. I'm not going to argue with you.
edgy.
That's right.
How could you take it back when you have known each other and they have taken from you a solemn covenant? Do you have anything on this?
Solemn covenant. Lane with literally means to come upon someone, usually in a private or intimate matter. It is an indirect reference to the husband and wife having had intimate sexual contact or intercourse, or having been alone together, or having lain under a single cover.
Yeah, sounds about right.
For Abu Hanifa, founder of the Hanafi school of law, for the couple to have been alone together is sufficient to entitle a woman to a full bridal payment. Although for al-Shafi, founder of the Shafi school of law, this entitles her to only half. Although verse 19 allows the husband to reclaim some of the bride wealth if the wife is guilty of flagrant indecency, the prophet reportedly refused to allow a husband to reclaim the bridal payment in 2 cases. In one, a man had accused his wife of indecency and they had been separated through mutual cursing. And in another, a groom learned that his new bride was pregnant by another. A husband can accept back some or all of the bride wealth in the case of such divorce, since in that case it is the wife who is seeking the divorce. In cool divorce, Khul.
So we might here have this upcoming verse. We might have some more clarification on who you can and cannot take as a wife. So do not marry any of the women whom your fathers had married, excluding what is already past.
Lawrence.
This is an indecency, an outrage, and
That's
an evil course.
Fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear what I just read you? There's an entire school of Islamic law that considers it, that basically considers it marriage when you have been alone in a room with a woman. Isn't that
that's pretty bad.
wild?
Yeah. That's and who did you say the founder of that was? I think it said
The Hanafi school.
Hanafi school. Okay. Interesting. There's another thing I got so many questions.
How? I'm so curious how they even managed this. Where is this in effect?
Good question. Good question. Where is that in effect? They're just spiritually married.
Spiritually married.
God spiritually married.
Or does this just refer to them if they have gone through a wedding ceremony
and then are in the room together, and that like solidifies that it's like it's like having sex for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, because if it's that, I can understand how that might be an issue that came up.
Sure,
because they are
I
barred in Surah 2 from having intercourse if she's undergoing her period, right? So there would potentially be cases
where you couldn't,
you couldn't, and then you would have to figure out a legal justification for what happens in these cases. But like that seems like an absurd standard still.
Right, yeah. But I think that would only make sense then if you do take this being as assuming they have already married. They already went through the ceremony. But then
But that
not
wasn't
spiritually
stated
connected.
outright.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
You know,
It wasn't.
that's me reaching to give it the benefit of the doubt.
right. Yeah.
But otherwise, that is wild.
Well, you can't marry any of your the people that your fathers married. Because that'd be bad, and that would be like all of your ancestors. Forbidden to you are your mothers, your daughters, and your sisters, your paternal aunts and your maternal aunts, your brother's daughters and your sister's daughters, your foster mothers who have suckled you and your sisters through fosterage, your wives' mothers, and your stepdaughters who are under your care, born of the wives whom you have gone into. Okay, sure. I guess, they're your stepdaughters, but you still have sex with their mom. But if you have not gone into them, there's no sin upon you, and the wives of your sons who are from your own loins, and that you should marry. Oh, sorry. Hold on. This is weirdly worded here. But if you have not gone into them, there is no sin upon you, and the wives of your sons who are from your loins, and that you should marry two sisters at one time, excluding what is already past. Indeed, God is all forgiving, all merciful. So that last part wasn't well phrased. So let's see how else that pops
for
up.
what's already passed, meaning that such marriages arranged prior to the revelation of the verse could withstand. However, the prophet reportedly ordered men who desired to enter Islam but had two sister wives to divorce one.
And no prohibition if ye have not gone in. Those who have been wives of your sons proceeding from your loins, so your biological sons, and two sisters in wedlock at one and the same time. So those are the people that you can't marry. So direct family.
Convenient for a certain biblical character.
Yeah, for a certain biblical character.
So that, I guess it's except for what's past, right?
Yeah.
That's why they included in the verse.
I guess. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, this passage may be, this entire section here may be the Quran's effort to articulate regulations on sexual relations along the lines of Leviticus 18 and 20. So those were the ones where at the end we get the note about homosexuality, but in reality it would have been just the application of those same roles to the opposite gender. So, like, instead of saying, like, because initially it gave you, like, all male counterparts, I think. Or no, it gave you all female counterparts. But then the implication of, like, that verse that's usually understood as being about gay people, the real meaning would be, like, that stuff we just said, apply that to all the male counterparts. So you can't, be with those guys either.
You can marry sisters. One at a time.
Only one at a time.
Only one at a time. Yeah,
your one sister. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. It says.
I wonder how
it says. Hold on.
The
It says
Mormon laws.
No. Hold on. It does say that you can't. Forbidden to you are your mothers, your daughters, and your sisters. Mm-hmm. It does say that.
None of your sisters. But you can.
Yeah, it says and your sisters. Yeah.
You can marry a girl who has a sister, divorce her, and then marry.
Her sister.
I
suppose.
Nothing about that.
Yeah, nothing about that, yeah. And married, this is yes. Indeed, God is all loving, all merciful. And married women, accepting your slave women. This is God's ordinance for you. As to others than
Save
these.
those whom your right hands possess. Right. These are the slave women who have been brought up before. They're not wives.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And all married women except those whom Abraham possessed, are forbidden.
Yeah, which means that if a slave that you own is a married woman, then you can still sleep with her.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only reason you'd be able to take her into slavery is the implication that you killed her husband.
Possibly?
Yeah. In war or something, right? Because I guess no, because it does.
We'll have to see if there are more in-depth slave taking laws.
Sure, yeah, you're right.
When you can take a slave.
You're right. Because it does. So while the group includes slave women, it's not exclusive to slave women.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's sorry. It does include prisoners of war. It's not exclusive to prisoners of war, is what I should say. As to others than these, it is lawful for you to seek temporary union with them, with your wealth in wedlock, not in license. For the enjoyment you have had from them thereby, give them their dowries by way of settlement. And there is no sin upon you in what you may agree upon after the settlement. God is indeed all-knowing, all-wise. All right. I'm going to continue on then to 25.
Yeah. There's just a bunch of various disagreement about specific readings.
Right, yeah. That's usually how it is right now. I mean, it's legal codes that we're in right now. As for those of you who cannot afford to marry faithful free women, then let them marry from what you own, from among your faithful slave women. Your faith is best known only to God. You are all on a similar footing. So marry them with their master's permission. Well, hold on. Okay, hold on. And give them their dowries in an honorable manner, such of them as are chaste women, not licentious ones or those who take paramours. So I guess, the virgin slave women, you have to get their master's permission. But the thing is, couldn't you be the master? Yeah, this is from among your faithful slave women, so this would be from the community, right?
Well,
whoever their master is.
But it could also include ones that you own.
Right, yeah. But should they commit an indecent act on marrying, there shall be for them only half the punishment for free women. Interesting.
So they understand that they don't really have property that they can live with.
Sure, yeah. But it says, for them only half the punishment for free women. So it seems like they get less punishment too, I guess, because they're not as guilty.
Slaves.
Yeah, they're not as guilty. Right.
Man, you already got it that bad.
Right, yeah. This is for those of you who fear falling into fornication. But it is better that you be continent, and God is all forgiving, all merciful. Hey, chat, how you guys liking all these sex laws and all these marriage laws?
Fuck.
Yeah, fuck is something it seems like they were rarely doing.
Apparently. Yep. But, I mean, many understood this verse to mean that a man could fully marry a slave woman if he was unable to marry a free woman, believing woman for lack of financial means, or if he fears he will sin, which some commentators interpret as a lack of patience to withstand the frustration of one's sexual desires. Most understood this permission as applying only in cases of necessity.
Of course.
Of the difficulties inherent in a slave woman having both a master, for whom she remains someone's slave, and a husband. And also, because the children produced by the union were legally subject to the woman's master. Given the undesirable consequences of this situation, Some said it was preferable to marry a free Jewish or Christian woman rather than a Muslim slave woman.
Yeah, where are we? We're like at 20.
They got rankings. So that was so we're at 26 now.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
We're an hour in.
Yes.
All right.
God desires to explain the laws to you and guide you to the customs of those who were before you, and to turn toward you clemently. And God is all knowing, all wise. Even though these, I mean, yeah, I guess they are before them, but let's see. God desires to turn toward you clemently, but those who pursue their base appetites desire that you fall into gross waywardness.
Wow. Is that true?
Yeah,
Are they gonna
fucking
corrupt
rock
the
on.
youth?
We're gonna, yeah.
You're gonna
that's what we're do.
corrupt the youth with
Yeah.
your wacky,
With my
with
weird
your
little atheist
lustful
show.
desire that
Oh.
you use to
My base
take people
appetites.
astray with your base appetites.
Wow, that's a good phrase for it.
Intense, man. It's very intense.
God desires to lighten your burden, for man was created weak. I don't know. Kind of sounds like he's adding to that burden. Anyways, verse
The
29.
prohibitions and permissions regarding marriage detailed in 22 through 25 are considered to be a reinstatement of marital laws established by previous prophets. Those who follow lusts may refer explicitly to fornicators, or more generally to those who follow their desires instead of the prescriptions of religion. Minority traditions suggest that these may be references to the people of the book, particularly Jews or Zoroastrians who reportedly had a less restrictive view of legitimate marriage partners. The latter permitted marriage to nieces, for example, the Zoroastrians.
Interesting.
God desires to lighten your burden, that is, by allowing men of insufficient means to marry slave women. For a man was created weak, that is, with a generally weak capacity to resist sexual desire and attraction to women for long.
Wow.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? That is bullshit, but all right.
The Quran mentions that God lightened the burden for Muslims in other ways.
Oh. Oh, okay.
So it's not just about that, but in this context, it is about that.
Yeah, it is.
He also interestingly says that he's man is created weak. My guy, God is supposed to have created us, made us weak.
Okay, so if he's in our image, and our image is weak,
Therefore, he's weak.
he's weak.
Yeah.
Now we got to go back.
Get
to
him.
Get that apocrypha stuff, so we can have the Father and the dreaming of the shadow of the shadow.
Right,
That's what's powerful. That's
Why
the
don't you
real
continue on, Lawrence?
Will do.
power. Okay.
Let's see. So 29. Oh, you who have faith, do not eat up your wealth among yourselves unrightly, but it should be traded by mutual consent. And do not kill yourselves. Indeed, God is most merciful to you. And whoever does that in aggression and injustice, we will soon make him enter the fire. And that is easy for God.
So, how does this result in, like, the unfortunate traditions that we see in some extreme Muslim communities?
Well,
because it seems like that is categorically...
It'd be against it, yeah.
Yeah.
So like when it says here, devour not your property among yourselves. It also says, this translation goes with, and do not kill your people.
Oh.
Yeah. So it kind of looked like to me like they were kind of parallel. So instead of killing yourself as in your own being, like don't kill each other. Like
I don't get it.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, well,
Feigning ignorance. Sorry,
look,
dude.
it seems like there are various points at which, like, killing is specifically prescribed and at which it's specifically prescribed not to do. And that seems to be a variable point in the Quran. But this is specifically about people who kill themselves in enmity and injustice in my translation here.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting. All right. Oh yeah. Whoso does this aggressively and unjustly. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I know that most Muslims would like say that, for example, suicide bombers are
expressively forbidden.
Right, yeah. They would say that. So, at least, the majority of Muslims
so
are
how
down
would that even like occur if
My guess, it has something to do with that whole the stuff from earlier on. I think it was in the last surah, maybe it was in the second surah. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff in the second surah. This is about like the conditions under which you are allowed to attack them, or allowed to attack others, is like when they are actively like oppressing you.
right.
Stop
My guess, if you so if you do interpret something as like an act of, active oppression of like your religious beliefs.
Yes, but I would assume that one would not specifically go about doing so in a means that is in other places expressively forbidden if you have the means to do so.
Right, yeah.
Like, even if less effectual, like, not to, like...
Give them pointers.
Right, but... Anyways, why don't you continue?
Yeah. Let's see. So verse 31. If you avoid the major sins that you are forbidden, we will absolve you of your misdeeds and admit you to a noble abode.
Oh, thanks.
So this is... I don't think we've actually had that many references to heaven that many times.
No.
Maybe a couple.
Usually it's a garden.
Right, it's a garden, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Well, what is a noble abode but a great
A
garden?
great garden, yeah.
Wow. I don't know.
That's the only thing it is. If you look up noble abode in the dictionary, it just has a picture of a garden. And there is a snake.
According to Ryan.
Wait, what?
This is different.
Yeah, it's
A noble gate. Okay.
Here, too.
That
We
that is
rarely have
interesting.
any differences in anything. This is a miracle. Wow.
Yeah, it's a mirror. That's funny. So yeah, an honorable place of entering.
Some consider God's forgiveness of lesser sins to be the result of an excess of reward for having avoided major ones. It literally has like to enter a noble gate.
As opposed to an ignoble gate, which is just Matt Gates. Very funny. Very funny, Tarb. Although I'm glad you saw that he, what was it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like he didn't accept the nomination or something?
Yes, he did not accept the nomination.
Yeah, good choice by him.
Didn't he also step down as well?
I think so, yeah.
Right. But that was so that they could squash the investigation.
Essentially, I think so, something like that, yeah.
So
Rescinded. Thank you.
rescinded.
So good though. That would have been fucking wild. The thing is, even most Republicans don't fucking like him.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He was chosen anyways. What a fucking world we live in. Awful picks. Honestly, worse than I thought they would be.
I mean, it was wild.
It was, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Anyways.
But the one saving grace of it is that you know that they wouldn't be around for long.
That is true.
He's got a habit of firing people who work for him.
That is true, yeah.
Oh, you're fired.
Well, if he if they don't like listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is definitely not a thing that dictators do. Totally not.
Not at all.
Yeah, not at all. So verse 32, do not covet the advantage which God has given some of you over others. To men belongs a share of what they have earned, and to women a share of what they have earned. And ask God for his bounty. Indeed, God has knowledge of all things. Verse 33.
Mm-hmm. There's not really any commentary on that.
Right, yeah. For everyone, we have appointed heirs to what the parents and near relatives leave, as well as those with whom you have made a compact. So give them their share of the heritage. Indeed, God is witness to all things. I mean, it's essentially the same thing we heard before about who's getting the inheritance.
Yeah, this is just a general reference to heirs.
Also,
It's etymologically related. Heirs is mawali, which is etymologically related to awilia, which means friends or allies.
Oh, yeah.
okay, so the next part. Okay, so I think we should actually stop at that verse. So, Chris, if you want to change it instead of verse 34 to 33.
Well, we missed one. Oh, no.
No, we didn't miss one.
Yeah, we're missing 34 now.
Okay, well now don't worry, it'll come back next time.
Oh,
So the reason why I'm cutting this one short is because then if you read ahead, Ruben,
You want me to read
No,
that
no, no.
very long verse?
no.
Is that what you want?
That's not what I want.
Okay.
That's funny, but no. So the reason is because verses 34 and verses 34 onward are about some disagreements between men and women and how to handle those.
Oh.
So it's like a separate topic. So it was really my fault setting it up the way I did. But if you just if I am just looking at the very first clause of the next verse, men are the managers of women. We got some juicy stuff coming up here next week.
Folks.
Yeah, we do.
Good to look forward
And
to
there's
next
some
week.
very juicy stuff in the middle of that verse.
Right,
by
yeah,
the way.
yeah. So a lot of crazy stuff that I think we should leave for
What
next
did you
time.
think of the first, whatever verses of the woman?
It's like reading Leviticus again,
Kind of.
except it's all about inheritance, marriage, sex.
There's a lot of slavery stuff.
Yes, there is. There's a lot of, but that's just kind of like assumed, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it.
All right. So you know what everyone should do? They should join the Discord.
Yep. Join the
Nightbot's actually working, so you should go.
Nightbot.
I know that's the first time in a
It has
while.
a link
It does.
right in the chat, right there.
So go click on that. Also, we have T-shirts.
Yep, the T-shirts, they're the best T-shirts. They definitely will never disintegrate in the washing machine.
Wow.
or
Yeah, that's
anything.
true. They will never disintegrate in a washing machine. I specifically built them for that.
That is not a promise.
Yeah, if you have a very hot washing machine, maybe they would.
That's a statement of blind faith.
Anyways, we also have a, what the fuck is this, Chris?
What is?
I saw that for a fucking second.
That was a vestige of our like, share, sub thing. That was like flipped backwards, upside down, and mirrored.
Oh, what's in the background, by the way?
It's just a woman reading a Quran.
I wanted to point out there's this cool incense. Yeah, like if we go to Lawrence's screen, there's a cool incense just in the lower corner.
Cool incense. What do you mean?
Well, it's like a little metal thing with smoke coming out of it.
Oh,
See it?
Oh, that. Okay, yeah.
I thought that was cool. I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
That was like
that is
well
neat.
placed in the shot.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Good point. I'm so good at this. Let's see what else we got. We have an Amazon wish list.
Yep.
We have a lot of books on there, and I think there are at least a few books on the Quran on there. So
Probably. You should buy us books on the Quran.
yeah,
so
sure.
We
that
can keep doing
Lawrence
that.
can learn more, and
Yeah, so that my
I
brain
learn
can get
more.
big. It's good for me.
And then you can learn more.
That's
in
true.
that order.
Exactly.
Often. Sometimes I read things first, but oftentimes Lawrence reads them first.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
And then like and subscribe, I guess.
Yep,
if
with that
if you
being
haven't
said-
pressed the like button, you're crazy. So don't
We
be crazy.
will-
See ya.
We'll see you
on Wednesday.
on Wednesday
Bye.
for more stuff
How
about
do you rate the Quran so far?
Men and women.
You'll see when
You'll
we're
see on
done.
Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll have a